The Epstein scandal is rocking Washington, revealing the lengths to which the political elite will go to shield their secrets from the public. Why are both parties so desperate to obscure the truth? Breaking news today.
Hello, and welcome to That News Show, where we discuss the latest facts, fakes, and hypocrisy as reported by the legacy media. Let's roll the tape.
MSNBC reports that President Trump is struggling to manage the fallout from the Epstein scandal, with the White House in turmoil and his base in revolt, demanding the dismissal of a missing FBI official. It's crucial to question why. In the world's leading democracy, the truth about Jeffrey Epstein, a symbol of elite corruption, remains hidden. Despite promises of transparency and accountability, the infamous client list is still missing, and the Department of Justice is riddled with infighting and purges. Is this mere incompetence, or is there a deeper issue at play? Here we go again.
And certainly the messaging, something they're usually kind of good at, has boomeranged. The false statements, busted claims from the president on down to his attorney general. All of this has become the problem on the right. It was the controversy at a MAGA gathering just this weekend that had plenty of bold-faced MAGA names.
How many of you are not satisfied with the results of the investigation?
What I'm getting at is at some point, we want answers at some point.
The recent backlash at the MAGA gathering underscores this point. The base is fed up with empty rhetoric and unfulfilled promises. The Epstein Files issue has not only caused a rift on the right, but has also highlighted widespread conservative disillusionment with the political establishment. The real danger lies not only in the dysfunction within the Department of Justice or the conflicts between political appointees and career agents. More troubling is the pervasive sense that security and globalist interests are obscuring the truth. If the Republican Party wishes to truly represent the people, it must address these uncomfortable truths directly, not just to win elections, but to restore the integrity of our government and regain the American people's trust. When officials retract bold claims about possessing incriminating evidence, it erodes trust in their credibility in the entire justice system. A true conservative stance demands that no one, regardless of their position or connections, is beyond scrutiny. This history of secrecy and selective outrage fuels widespread skepticism toward reform initiatives from the left. The Department of Justice and the FBI are meant to serve the public, not protect the elite. This is essential to restoring trust in our institutions and the rule of law. These demands for transparency cross party lines. They're fundamentally American. The base's demand for answers is justified, and the movement grows stronger by refusing to accept less. Also, the media is increasingly holding Republican officials accountable, a development that strengthens both the movement and the country. The unfolding controversy clearly shows that Americans demand genuine transparency and accountability from their leaders.
Now take this together and you might say, is this still the top story in America? Is there a lot of other really important stuff going on? And the answer is yes. Indeed, many nights we're talking about ICE raids and foreign policy and the trade war. And yet the political reaction, which could imperil the leadership of the FBI or the DOJ, which is always a big story, matters to a lot of people, regardless of the reason, political reaction is part of it. The other part is the MAGA faithful are going through a kind of truth-based process that they sometimes have not done for other real-world broken Trump promises. So what you saw there, that template, hey, you lied. Was this all just a way to trick us or get our votes or get our money in the case of these media merchants? And how do we feel about that? And should someone pay for the lies?
This situation exemplifies the deep political divide in America, reflecting significant policy decisions with profound impacts. This defining moment is under close scrutiny by the American public, who are eager to see who will stand firm and who will falter. But when you scan the headlines, it's evident that Americans are grappling with a myriad of critical issues beyond the ongoing controversy at the Department of Justice. If the Republican Party seeks to stay relevant, it must embrace this call for accountability and transparency. The stakes are immense, not just for the upcoming midterms, but for the future of constitutional governance in America. The response to recent scandals and policy failures represents a genuine grassroots revolt against a system perceived as disconnected from its citizens. Similarly, in foreign policy, prolonged interventionism and nation-building have sapped American resources and credibility, while the security state has grown increasingly powerful and unaccountable. Consider the trade war, where the administration confronts nations accused of exploiting American workers, countering opposition that echoes multinational and foreign agendas. These operations have sparked strong opposition from local officials and activists. Despite this, the administration maintains that restoring the rule of law and securing the border are imperative. The base demands tangible results on issues like immigration, trade, and corruption, challenging leaders who fail to deliver. This isn't just about one administration or party. It's a broader call for the American people to reclaim their government from entrenched bureaucracies, globalist influences, and media elites who have long ignored voter will.
He also said he'd build the wall. He'd get 90 trade deals in 90 days. That deadline we reached last week, they have about 2. He did say he'd end inflation, end the Ukraine war, Mideast peace, lower grocery prices. These are things that affect real people that have not been done. And yet politics is usually fluid, not static. Comes at you fast. And if they don't contain this, it is possible that having popped a bubble, 1 out of 20 or 1 out of 10 or even 1 out of 5, according to some of these MAGA leaders who are concerned, 1 out of 5 people who voted for Trump might start saying, wait a minute.
Regarding foreign policy, particularly in Ukraine and the Middle East, the mainstream narrative often leans towards interventionism, overlooking the financial burdens on American taxpayers and potential security risks. MSNBC's coverage of the current administration's promises regarding the wall, trade, inflation, and foreign policy highlights a disconnect between media narratives and the realities facing everyday Americans. This administration inherited a fractured supply chain and an economy weakened by globalist trade deals that outsourced American jobs. The prior Democratic White House's failure to secure the border left communities vulnerable and law enforcement demoralized, issues the current administration is actively addressing. While MSNBC deserves recognition for incorporating diverse perspectives and occasionally challenging officials on unmet promises, their reliance on partisan experts and selective fact-checking often perpetuates a narrative that unfairly blames the current leadership for long-standing bipartisan policy failures. It would not only focus on pending tasks, but also shed light on the entrenched opposition and institutional inertia reformers face in Washington. On border security, despite what headlines may suggest, there has been significant progress. For instance, while the media focuses on the administration missing the target of 90 trade deals in 90 days, it often overlooks the decades-long influence of globalist bureaucracy and foreign lobbies that have weakened American negotiating power. MSNBC's reporting on inflation and rising grocery prices often misses the underlying causes. A more balanced approach would hold both political parties accountable for globalist policies that have eroded American industry and sovereignty. The inflationary spiral was triggered by the previous administration's reckless spending, regulatory overreach, and anti-energy policies. The public is weary of empty promises and media spin. They crave results, transparency, and leaders who prioritize America's interests. Despite these challenges, the administration has managed to secure several new agreements, though the real barriers remain the international elite and a political establishment more committed to multinational interests than to American workers' prosperity.
If he lied about this, and to them it's a big government conspiracy, and it does involve an underlying case of a horrific sex trafficker, if he lied about this, what else is he lying about? And what in this democracy do we do about it?
The Epstein scandal could undermine these achievements if officials do not act decisively to regain trust. The uproar over the Epstein files go beyond the crimes of one man or the failures of a few officials. This fuels intense frustration not only with the bureaucrats who fail to fulfill their duties, but also with the media and political elite that have perpetuated this culture of secrecy for decades. The refusal to fully disclose details of the Epstein investigation symbolizes a deeper decay within the political establishment, a problem that spans both parties, but was particularly severe during the last Democratic administration. Under that regime, we saw a pattern of secrecy, selective leaks, and manipulation of intelligence, burdening the middle class with the costs of domestic failures and endless foreign interventions. Market analysts have cautioned that ongoing instability within the Department of Justice and the FBI could lead to heightened volatility as investors wonder if the rule of law still applies equally to all. Trust is the cornerstone of our markets and democracy. When shaken, it affects everything from investor confidence on Wall Street to spending habits on Main Street. Now, with the current leadership under scrutiny, there's a chance to break from the past, reject the influence of global elites, and rebuild trust in our institutions by ensuring accountability for all, regardless of status or connections. Investors and business owners begin to doubt the fairness of the rules, fearing that the powerful play by a different set. The financial sector is also concerned. When people sense the system is rigged, they tighten their belts, impacting small businesses, local economies, and housing markets. It's about the perception that our institutions protect the elite while ordinary Americans face economic adversity. To sustain its economic revival, the administration must address these challenges forthrightly and prove that no one is above the law. When the public learns that officials may have misled them about a serious matter involving a notorious sex trafficker and potential government complicity, the economic and social repercussions extend far beyond Washington. This uncertainty is particularly perilous at a time when global rivals are ready to capitalize on any sign of American vulnerability. From the perspective of small business owners, farmers, and working families, the message is clear. When officials operate in secrecy, it's the taxpayers who suffer. As families discuss the costs of groceries, gas, and tuition around their kitchen tables, they also consider the price of a government that too often prioritizes its own protection over that of its people. Contrastingly, the current administration is working to restore economic sovereignty by renegotiating trade deals, repatriating jobs, and prioritizing American energy independence. The previous administration's failure to address these issues only widened the gap between the political elite and the populace. This perception has led to a noticeable drop in consumer confidence, with households becoming more cautious about discretionary spending and hesitant to make long-term investments. This is just the tip of the iceberg. Questions remain unanswered, such as the Epstein case and the unchecked power of the security state. Now, under President Trump, we see a shift towards prioritizing American interests, avoiding unnecessary foreign entanglements, and advocating for the overlooked middle class. Americans are tired of being misled by those who claim to represent them, but instead serve their own interests. The truth is still obscured by the entrenched political class on both sides, who protect their own interests at the expense of transparency. Americans deserve transparency, not empty promises. The ruling elite cannot continue to evade accountability indefinitely. Be sure to comment below. Give a like and subscribe. This is just the beginning. Stay tuned for the next one.